we are back, and we just finished watching 2023's Problemista from writer-director Julio Torres. This is the story of an immigrant from El Salvador who comes to America to realize his dream of being a toy maker, and along the way meets a very eccentric, I guess, art world art outcast. I mean, she's not even a critic. She's just
she wrote that critique of that woman who demanded the apology, if you remember. So I think she was an art critic.
I don't know. I felt like she didn't do anything. She was like one of those. She probably like inherited money and just flitted through life.
I got the feeling maybe she was once more influential, but then maybe when she got hooked up with RZA and his eggs, people started not thinking her as a reputable art critic.
Yeah. So we caught this on Max, but it's also to buy rent on Prime. And I think when the movie was done, I turned to you and I was like, I didn't hate it, but I didn't know how to feel about the film. It was interesting because it was sort of like this fever dream.
There were definitely a lot of asides to fantasy.
Yes, very much.
What was the main character's name?
I think it was Julio.
Blanking on it.
Oh, no, Alejandro,
yes. Alejandro had a vivid imagination.
Very.
And it was often portrayed visually on the screen. Him dressed as like a knight in some sort of poorly made set, and Tilda Swinton, I guess, dressed up as a monster with her big giant spiked shoulder pads and whatnot. And all the other things that he was like fantasizing about. So yeah, there was a point when I was watching it and I felt like this feels like it's a series of skits put together.
I could see that.
Like, okay, now we're in the restaurant with the difficult customer. And now we're in the apartment with the roommate who doesn't care. And what was the deal with the guy he sublet the room out? He just disappeared. No explanation there.
Yeah.
Annoying roommate's girlfriend commandeers the couch.
That's supposed to be his to sleep on.
That's supposed to be his. Another annoying skit. My idea was stolen by Hasbro. There's another annoying skit. Oh, all of the pitches for his ideas. Oh, it's Barbie with her fingers crossed behind her back because that gives an intrigue of mystery or something like that.
And adds tension or something. I forgot what he said.
Yeah, he definitely liked, if he was making toys, he made toys that were not fun. They were supposed to make you, I guess,
like
think about the problems in life and maybe how to overcome them. A Slinky that doesn't go down the stairs. Cabbage Patch dolls that get insulting messages on their Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't think he was successful as a toy maker, but maybe he was, because in the future you find out that whatever.
Yeah, he made enough money to get Frozen.
What'd you think?
I felt the same way that you did. I say that the whole story carried me along and kept me interested. And I guess maybe part of it is because you were watching like a bunch of little vignettes and little skits of his life with the overarching storyline of, will this guy get a work visa and continue to pursue his dream? And how is he going to deal with crazy Elizabeth, who, I mean, Tilda Swinton is the best thing in this movie. She is deranged. Yeah, she is the crabby older woman.
My favorite was "Stop yelling at me."
Stop yelling. Yeah, nobody's yelling at her, but she says, "Stop yelling at me," and everybody's just like, "Oh my God."
Yeah.
I think at that point they realize, oh, I'm dealing with a crazy person. I need to start walking on eggshells. I can't escalate this situation because she's already at "Stop yelling at me," and I'm not yelling. As far as an entire story,
yeah,
I wasn't. I probably wouldn't recommend this movie.
I could see that.
To me, you know what this is? This is kind of a background movie. I could see you putting it on in the background and somebody walking by and being like, "What the hell's that?"
Right.
And then you just saying, "Don't worry about it." It's one of those
playing at the bar.
One of those, yeah. It was playing up on the screen. Somebody's like, "Is that Tilda Swinton?"
Yeah.
That's about it.
I agree with you. I think the most mesmerizing thing about this film is Tilda Swinton's character, Elizabeth, who is just a nightmare.
Yes, but not so far a nightmare that you can't imagine somebody like that existing.
And
she's like an ultra Karen.
Ultra Karen is right.
Yeah.
But also, I felt like I had sympathy for her.
Yes, through Alejandro, because Alejandro initially, he's kind of stuck. This is the only glimmer of hope he has for getting someone to sponsor him for a work visa.
The lawyer gave him an out.
I'm talking initially. In the beginning, she was his only chance. Mm-hmm. So he stuck with her and said what he needed to say to stick around. And I guess because of that, plus it was in his nature. It was in his character to seek out problems. Mm-hmm. That's why all his toys are the way they were. Mm-hmm. There were toys that had problems. Mm-hmm. And she was basically a person that had problems. And he wanted to
help her.
Not only help her, but in his mind, for some reason, he believed, it's true. Solving problems makes you stronger, makes you better. And that's what I'm guessing that's what the purpose of all his terrible toys were. Mm-hmm. To make kids think outside the box and solve what these things are. Mm-hmm. And that to him was, God, I keep forgetting her name.
Elizabeth.
That's what Elizabeth was to him. And through that, he spoke to her and she spoke to him and she told him about her past and the relationship she had with Bobby, who was not really a very talented artist. He wanted to be, but he was fixated on eggs for some reason.
And he was probably cheating on her.
He was absolutely. She knew she was. He cheated on her with a lot of people apparently,
including
he always gave them his paintings, and even at the end when they're reunited. He's talking to like the lady who's telling, you're who are you, whatever. He's talking to the younger lady and she's just standing there. I'll go get drinks or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then she leaves and goes and berates the bartender. Yeah, so she definitely had a troubled life. In fact, that's why they called her the Hydra, because anytime you solved one of her problems, two more would sprout up to take their place.
But I think that Alejandro had a really good way of sort of maneuvering her, whether it was through his calm demeanor and stuff or whatever it was. I think one of the jokes, the running gags, was the FileMaker Pro.
Yeah, it's the Cadillac of file management systems.
Yes, which isn't really a thing.
Nobody knows how it works. Or the database is aligned.
Yeah, so I thought that was kind of like a nice or like a funny running gag throughout the film, and how he, I guess, ultimately cracked the code, because he tells her at the end that he figured it out.
Yeah, but honestly, who cares at that point?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there were little funny bits. It wasn't a bad movie.
It wasn't.
It wasn't.
It was just very strange.
It was just very strange, and I feel like it kept your interest just enough to keep watching it.
Yeah.
I mean, we just watched it yesterday, and we felt no impetus to talk about it right away.
Right, no.
So there was like, it wasn't like, oh my God, let's discuss this now.
Yeah.
And just now, when we were like getting up to talk about it,
we're dragging our feet,
dragging our asses. Yeah. There's really nothing thought provoking beyond what I just said.
Yeah.
I think the character's performances were good. Alejandro was good, although he's a weird dude.
Yeah, he was very stiff.
I think I don't know if that was part of his character or if that's the actor, but I
think it's part of the character.
He struck me as having like some kind of Arrested Development where he was almost childlike.
Kind of. Well, I mean, he grew up in the forest, sheltered by his mother.
Yeah.
In this kind of magical little pod world. Where, remember, her biggest thing was to keep him safe.
Yeah.
But he wanted to venture out of their little home, and he came to New York, which is very different than El Salvador.
Yeah.
And it sounded like she might have been a teacher or something, or like a professor or something.
No, I got the impression she was an artist, and she built installations because she was submitting a plan for an art installation, and she had like this sort of mental block. She couldn't figure out what she wanted to do.
Oh, is that what I thought she was giving like a speech at a school.
No, because then eventually she came up with the whole puzzle pieces. Mm-hmm. which, whatever.
Yeah.
There was a lot of, whatever.
Yeah.
Like the whole, like, what was going on? Oh, I'm finally going to accept the Craigslist cleaning boy ad.
Oh my gosh, that was weird too.
That was sort of weird and kind of unnecessary. And honestly, it wasn't even like he did anything with the money. He was supposed to send her the discs, and nothing came of that. Like, he did all of that
just to have the money to send her the discs.
Just to have the money to send her the discs, and he didn't send the discs.
I thought he did.
No, he went to bed. He went back to his apartment and he went to bed. Yeah.
So I wanted to watch this because I wanted to get a story about, I guess, or immigrants, the experience of immigrants in this country. And I think that for a lot of immigrants, I think America is this big, scary place. You have the whole language barrier thing, although Alejandro speaks really good English. Yeah. So in that sense, he's not limited there, but you see those scenes where he goes to the lawyer's office, and as soon as people are told that their chances of flipping to citizenry is not happening, they just disappear. They don't exist anymore. And I think that was kind of an interesting...
Well, it's the way they describe the whole process, and they once again do it with some sort of dreamlike metaphor of him climbing. It's almost like the offices are set up like a staircase where you're designed to go up like 3 steps, then you have to go down 6 steps. And
which very much feels like the system itself.
Yeah, and it's like you have to get a sponsor. You have to get someone to give you a sponsorship for your visa,
but you can't get paid.
But you can't earn any. You can't earn any money until you get that sponsorship, and the sponsorship you have to pay a lot of money. Like even with the signature, you still need a lot of money. So basically, you have to search for jobs that pay you cash, which is why he goes on his whole dream metaphor with that Craigslist genie, where he's just doing crap job after crap job after crap job.
All right, selling salon packages, but he doesn't really have the, I guess, force of will to do it. He's just sort of, would you like a salon package? Yeah.
And the guy's like, I'll give you, it says $200 if you want it or something like that. And then the guy just shows him how it's done. And he's like, hey, ladies, wow, that's a nice looking coat. Hey, any interest?
Yeah.
He's schmoozing.
Yeah.
Which Alejandro isn't capable of doing.
Right.
So he's just doing random crap. I forgot what the hell he was doing. Like, do you remember any of his little Craigslist jobs?
I don't, actually. Was he giving out flyers? And
it was giving out flyers, but the rest of them were it was like a blur.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, it all felt like skits. Yeah. The whole interactions with his Craigslist genie, him climbing up and down through the bureaucracy.
Exquisitely narrated by Isabella Rossellini.
Why? That was another thing. It's just like, we're going to throw in Isabella Rossellini narration.
I mean, I don't hate it.
I don't mind.
Yeah, I love her voice.
I like her voice, but it was sort of almost haphazard how it was. It was in the beginning, and then it just would appear every once in a while, periodically throughout the rest of the movie. It didn't feel, I don't know. There was an overarching story, but it just didn't feel like a
cohesive,
like everything. Like, a good story is when everything is guiding you towards that story. Mm-hmm. And this sort of felt like there were just too many little branches and asides. Mm-hmm. And that kind of went nowhere. Like, we didn't need any of the drama with his apartment.
No.
That was unnecessary. We didn't need the cleaning boy side thing, because that made it sound like, oh, this is a thing. It's one step too far. But did he like it at the end? I don't know.
I don't know.
Was he disgusted? Was he...
You don't know.
Was he upset? Nothing ever comes of that.
Yeah.
The story should have just been him and Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Him dealing with this extremely difficult woman. I mean, it's basically sort of like The Devil Wears Prada, but on a much grungier, dirtier level.
Yeah.
Not dirty like vulgar, but dirtier. And this lady was clearly not Meryl Streep.
No.
Yeah. She's screaming about FileMaker Pro.
Does anybody use that?
Probably not since the 90s. I don't even know if they make that thing anymore.
How the hell is it? Yeah, like her computers were old.
Oh, yeah. They were. I mean, you saw that. That was like one of those like candy colored Macs that they used to have. Yeah, everybody's like, 90s. Oh, my God. Apple are geniuses. They've made a Mac that's bright pink.
Yeah. I'm sure somebody still has it.
I'm sure a lot of people have those things in their attic or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean,
sure
you can't. I don't think you could do anything with them now.
Yeah.
She was running FileMaker Pro. Shows you how advanced FileMaker Pro is.
So I didn't love it, but I didn't hate this film.
Yeah, that's the thing that's interesting about it. It's like I was not bored.
I wasn't bored, and I liked Alejandro, but I really liked Elizabeth, even though she was a nightmare. And if I ever had to work with her, I would have killed her.
Yeah. Alejandro was a bit too... If there was a manic pixie dream boy character, it would kind of be him if you got rid of the manic part.
Yeah, because he was so even keel.
He was very calm. He was clearly the one guy in the world who wasn't crazy.
Yeah.
He was timid. Even in the way he moved.
Yes.
Like he sort of had like this little hopping step that he would always be
walking. He looked like one of these, like when you watch old movies with geishas walking, how they walk.
Kind of. The little shuffle step.
Yeah.
But he also had like this little bounce
to it, yeah.
Yeah. And the backpack strapped to his back.
That must have had everything in his life.
Even when he's doing the cleaning boy thing, he takes his pants off, he's still wearing the backpack.
Yeah.
That was just weird.
That was a bizarre scene. But I'm sure stuff like that happens.
I'm sure, yeah. I mean, Craigslist is a cesspool.
Ugh. What happened to Craigslist?
It was always a cesspool.
It was, but I think it got worse.
Yeah, well, I think once the people started dying.
Yeah. So again, I didn't hate this film. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. And I think that the performances absolutely propel it to next level. I think Tilda Swinton is absolutely amazing in this. Amazing. Like next level. I mean, she's always good, but this is like, again,
you've seen someone like her.
You have. And it's like, she is just reprehensible, but then there are those moments of humanity.
Yeah.
Where she tells Alejandro that she has left him the sponsorship, where she calls him and tells him, "Oh, I wish you were here. The next time, learn how to drive," so that there are moments
and she also tells him that, sometimes you got to have a backbone and actually
stand up
fight.
For yourself. Yes.
Yeah. Don't accept it. Always send the food back.
Yeah.
As she said.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't just be a doormat.
Yes. And I think that he definitely learned that from her when you see his last scene with the toy guy.
Yes.
Which was kind of nice to see because it was still Alejandro, but with just enough Elizabeth.
Yeah, because he could have just been like, I'm going to sue everything and burn this place to the ground. And it was like, this is what's going to happen. And it was like, it's going to work out for you. It's going to work out for me. And you're going to do it because you know I'm right.
Yeah. So that was very gratifying to see at the end how he kind of figured out all of his problems and came to a resolution for everything, which was basically the sponsorship and then to be part of that incubator for Hasbro toy makers.
Right. And also fixing it for anybody else who wasn't an American who wanted to be part of it.
Right. Yes. That was
it was also him. That was like, I would say that's the Alejandro part of this new, better Alejandro.
Right.
Thinking of somebody else.
Right. And paving the way for other people.
Yeah.
Because that was part of his speech too. Like, make there an other. Scale of 1 to 10. What are you going to give this film?
I'd probably just give it a 5. It's
just a 5.
I can't, like I said, I didn't hate it, but I didn't really like it either.
No, but I think that the performances, it was a pretty movie, and I think the performances elevated it to something a little bit more for me. So I'm actually going to give this a 6.5 because I think that, again, Tilda Swinton is usually amazing and everything, but something about her in this I couldn't tear my eyes off of her. She was just a hot mess.
Yeah.
And the fact that he was willing to deal with that hot mess was
even when he had a better opportunity possibly lined up.
Yes. And that was the thing that I also felt like very much speaks to the immigrant experience, how people come to this country flying blind just on the chance that they're going to have a better life. And that doesn't necessarily happen, which this movie very much portrays. I mean, like you said before, the whole step to citizenry is just egregious. And it's almost like the odds are stacked against you from the get-go, because the things that you have to do to complete to become that citizen are just not sustainable.
Yeah, and somewhat contradictory too. You have
to have money, but you can't accept money for work. That doesn't make any sense.
It is, it's very contradictory. It's definitely not set up to be easy.
No. And I think that...
unless you've got cash.
Yes. And I think that throughout the story, you see that from Alejandro, that he perseveres in spite of all these obstacles, in spite of the obstacles of the weird living conditions, in spite of the obstacles of his, I guess, professional life, like careers. I think in spite of even his own, what am I trying to say? Like, I feel like the whole cleaning boy situation was him addressing parts of his sexuality.
I mean, maybe the thing that that's probably another reason why I felt it was really out of place and unnecessary was because that really was never an aspect of the story.
It wasn't, but it was sort of him coming to terms, right? And he also...
But the thing is, like, if you're going to make a story about coming to terms with your sexuality or something, it should be something that's at least mentioned in the rest of the movie.
Possibly, but I think here the thing that at least for me, and again, I don't know what the filmmaker's intent is. I'm just going by my own interpretation. He, as a last resort, goes to this place where he can make money, right? And he knows what's involved, right? He knows what's going to happen, and he's accepted it, but he's doing it on his own terms. So I think in that sense, he's sort of addressing it in a way that he has the power, if that makes sense.
I don't know. I didn't really see it that way.
I don't think he was victimized.
If you are
or allowing himself to be victimized, because he went into this with eyes wide open.
I understand that, but he went into it as a last resort because he wanted to help Elizabeth, and it wasn't really for him, and it wasn't something that he wanted. And plus, at that point, he was extremely screwed over because, once again, another skit. That's the whole dialogue with the person from the bank over the phone, explaining how screwed up the bank system is, and how, all right, well, you overdrafted your account, so we had to punish you with a penalty fee.
Yeah.
Well, why couldn't you just deny the charge? Well, that's not how it works.
Right.
Yeah, to whose benefit?
Right.
It's everything's screwed up. So to me, that's not really going into it on his terms. It's going into it because I have negative $450 in the bank now, and not only is this going to not let me send the CD-ROM to Elizabeth in Connecticut or whatever the hell she is. That's his life. He can't pay. He's not going to be able to pay his rent. He's not going to be able to buy a sandwich. He's not going to be able to do anything. So if you're at that point in your life and your option is, I don't know, declare bankruptcy or become a quote unquote cleaning boy, you're not really doing it on your own terms. If he was like making money and was just like, I'm going to embrace my homosexuality and my desire to make money for for having sex with strange men, that's, okay, you want to be a prostitute, be a prostitute. There's plenty of proud prostitutes out there, It's not that profession that is all taboo like it used to be when we were kids, but still, if you're doing it because you have negative money in your bank account, you're not really doing it on your own terms.
All right.
You're desperate.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah. Nobody's...
But I feel like,
empowerment story.
I feel like there's other things he could have done for cash under the table. You could be a dog walker. No,
but he tried all of that, and he ended up getting screwed anyway.
Yeah.
Because of the way the bank works.
Yeah.
And because he needed to do this. He needed to help Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Although Elizabeth was being crazy, and honestly, he should have just been like, I'll see you at the art show or whatever,
right,
and be done with it.
Yeah.
But that was Alejandro. He did not send the food back. He was still the doormat.
Yeah.
Another reason why this is not, I'm doing it on my own terms. If you're selling your body because you're a doormat to somebody else, no, you're not doing it. That's basically your pimp now.
Why do you think he was so like gung-ho on being of service to Elizabeth?
Maybe because like we mentioned earlier, he was really obsessed with solving problems. Mm-hmm. And he saw her life as just a bundle of problems that he felt that he could solve. Like he's like, I feel like I can do this. And there was the promise of a sponsorship. Mm-hmm. Although I think for the most part, it really was just his nature. He just wanted to solve problems.
Right. Because he could have taken the lawyer's job offer.
He could have taken the lawyer's job offer
and
that, yeah, exactly. That would have been the easy way out. There's no problems there. No, there's no difficulty there. There's no challenge that's going to change someone's perspective or point of view or personality or whatever. It's just, I'll translate stuff and send emails. Mm-hmm. Whereas with Elizabeth, it's this woman navigates the world in such a way that it just causes endless drama and problems. And the reason why she's doing this is because she has these paintings that need to be sold. She made a promise to Bobby. Mm-hmm. She has bills to pay because of Bobby. Mm-hmm. All of these things, they're things that she created that are causing these issues, and she is not equipped to handle them because her way of handling it is, stop yelling at me.
Right.
Alejandro could be that solution. Elizabeth is the messed up toy mm-hmm. that makes the kid think. That's what I believe the whole metaphor was with the toys. That's what she was to him. She was the living embodiment of all the crap that he would create and think, oh, kids are going to love this. Mm-hmm. No kid's going to want a Slinky that isn't capable of going down a flight of stairs.
Yeah.
Kids don't even like the ones that do go down the flight of stairs.
Yeah. That's like an old toy.
Yeah. Kids in the 50s played with Slinkies.
Yeah.
You see it go down the stairs once and the magic is gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Elizabeth is the broken Slinky. We got to figure out something else to do.
All right. Again, this is Problemista from 2023, playing on Max currently, but also to buy rent on Prime. You're going to say skip?
It's average. Yeah, I wouldn't say go out of your way to watch this movie. If you're bored and it's just you're flipping through channels and you see it, there are worse options out there. To me, it's just a bunch of somewhat entertaining little sketches. Mm-hmm. And it just holds your interest enough to keep you watching. But I don't think you're ever going to be like, oh my God, you guys got to watch this movie. It's so funny, or it's so thought-provoking, or it really isn't.
No, but it is interesting.
Tilda Swinton is great.
Tilda Swinton is fantastic. Absolutely. I enjoyed it. I agree with you. It did feel like little skits, but I think it was a little bit better than that. I think that the added elements of Tilda Swinton and even the narrator, even Isabella Rossellini, I think that those things helped me like the story even more. I appreciated Julio Torres as Alejandro. I think he gave a very interesting performance. It was very subtle, and yet there were little pops in there that I think made you kind of like him in spite of everything. Because you could sit there and just be like, stop being a doormat. But you see him turn that corner at the end and become someone else. And then even at the end when he talks to Elizabeth and he's like talking her off a ledge, right? Because that's her go-to response to things. And he's talking her off a ledge and he tells her that he knows FileMaker Pro, which I bet he did learn
in 100 years or so.
322 years since that place figured out how to bring those people back. So that was another thing. Is Bobby still cancer prone or?
No, the whole thing was they would bring them back at a time period when they'd be able to cure those things.
Oh, okay.
That's the whole promise of cryogenics. Mm-hmm. It's we're going to take your head off, put your head in a bucket, freeze it, and when we figure out how to reattach your head, we'll thaw you out and strap you on a new awesome body. Meanwhile, that rarely works out that way.
No.
There was like one story I remember where these people were suing because the company was it got like bought and sold so many times because eventually you're going to run out of money. And then you just have a whole bunch of like these like canisters with dead bodies in them. And sometimes, oh, we forgot to turn the refrigerator unit on. And now the body is literally sludge. So there have been many cases like that.
That's crazy.
Ted Williams, famous baseball player.
Oh, really?
His head is frozen somewhere. Although I think maybe they quit that out and actually buried his head finally. Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's
just
accept it. Yeah. Just go into the great beyond.
Crush me into a diamond. There you go.
There you go. All right. So 5 from you, 6.5 from me. I think you should check it out. I think it's interesting. It's a very interesting told story about the immigrant experience. It's not something you see every day. Usually there were parts of the immigrant story, like the thing about the banks and like about the thing about becoming a citizen, that would ring very true.
I don't know. The only thing about the immigrant experience is, for me, was the whole difficulty getting a visa. Mm-hmm. There wasn't anything as far as like, oh, there's a language barrier. Oh, I'm being discriminated against because I'm an immigrant. There was none of that. It was more about him dealing with Elizabeth. Coincidentally, he was an immigrant. Mm-hmm. That's really the only thing. If we were gonna, this isn't really a movie about the immigrant experience.
All right.
I don't believe it is.
All right.
He happens to be one. It's more of like a plot mechanism for
the rest of the story,
adding to his dire straits as far as all the stuff that he does. Because it's like, oh, that signature on that piece of paper. They keep showing the paper and her signing it or crumpling it up or ripping it in half. Yeah, that's all it is.
But he could have chosen the easy way out with the lawyer.
You find that out, but that's like towards the end of the movie.
Yeah.
He was a hardworking guy, and he had skills. So,
all right.
I suppose that's why he wasn't as annoying. He could be a bit of a doormat. He wasn't
unlikable,
completely helpless or unlikable. He was actually a guy who would get stuff done. Mm-hmm. He wasn't like, what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
He just, no, I'm gonna go on Craigslist. I'm gonna look for all of these crappy jobs.
I'm gonna go on Google and figure out FileMaker Pro.
Yeah, and I'm gonna deal with this crazy lady.
Yeah. All right. I think we've said everything we can about this film, so we'll wrap it up. And again, Problemista 2023 on Max or to buy rent on Prime. Check it out. And that's it from us. And we will bid you all a
good night.
Good night.